What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to the top 10 biggest PR disasters in British politics. I came across this video and I thought it would be pretty funny, but also probably informative as well. I've always enjoyed learning about politics, but so far I really haven't learned the ins and outs of British politics, at least not to the depth I'd like to. I've learned the surface level stuff like what the House of Commons and the House of Lords are. I've learned a little bit about certain British politicians, not many, but I do know a few of them. I've learned about certain British political issues such as Brexit. But all in all, I have a long way to go to truly understand the different British political ideologies, the British political figures, and just so many of the different issues that the British people have faced when it comes to politics. So anyways, guys, I thought this would be a very interesting one to look into, but I don't really know what to expect here. So let's just go ahead and dive in and check out some of the biggest PR disasters in British politics.
For this list, we're looking at the funniest, most ridiculous scandals to ever reach Westminster. Let us know in the comments which one you won't be forgetting anytime soon. Number 10, the Mound.
It's a really important initiative to encourage people to come back into the centre of London.
In the summer of 2021, Westminster Council unveiled a truly atrocious tourist attraction to try and bring more people to London. That's in spite of the fact that London already had plenty of actual good things for people to see that aren't an artificial pile of mud. The Mound, which is shockingly its real name, was met with resounding disappointment, not only because it's an eyesore, because at the beginning the council planned to charge people £6.50 for the privilege of climbing to the top of it. Even worse, the thing cost around £6 million to build, a figure that the council sheepishly keeps increasing.
Something new, something interesting that people hadn't been able to do before, and that...
What? They thought this was a good idea to bring tourists back to London, a mound of dirt that you could pay £6 for, roughly $8, right, to climb to the top of. I could go out on the outskirts of London, probably somewhere, and find a hill larger than this to climb to the top of. What in the world were they thinking? The Mound, man. Is this gone or is this still there? I'm guessing this is gone. If they kept this, I mean, at least the way it looks right now, I'm like, I mean, maybe it's because it was so new, but this looks like nothing I would want to come and see, to be honest. Okay. Yeah, I can see why this would be a disaster. PR disaster? Yeah, I guess you'd say that. But anyway, let's continue.
This really fits the bill.
It's now London's biggest embarrassment. Number 9, fields of wheat.
What's the naughtiest thing you ever did?
Oh, goodness me.
Of all the things Theresa May did and said at the height of her political career, this will be the thing that follows her for the rest of her life. During a routine interview in the run-up to the 2017 snap election, May was asked what the naughtiest thing she's ever done was, to which she replied that it was running through fields of wheat as a child.
I have to confess, when me and my friends sort of used to run through the fields of wheat, the farmers weren't too pleased about that.
Fields of wheat quickly became a meme, with people across the political spectrum full of second-hand embarrassments for the Prime Minister. Some years later, May revealed that of all the mistakes in her career, she believed the fields of wheat incident was the biggest. It's gonna haunt her forever.
Did you have any urge to jump out the car and run through any fields of wheat on the way here?
I'm far too responsible a citizen to run through a wheat field.
Number 8, the...
Man, if that is the worst thing that you've ever done, you're an angel. Running through some fields of wheat as a child. Okay.
Prescott Punch. Labour's Deputy Prime Minister was out campaigning in real Wales back in 2001 when a dissatisfied member of the electorate decided to lob a few eggs at him. Though getting public abuse is a standard part of being a politician in the UK, maybe it was a bad day because Prescott retaliated by punching the egger in the face with a nasty left hook.
Other camera angles make it clear exactly what happened.
He definitely should have thought twice before egging a former boxer, and clearly didn't bargain on Prescott giving as good as he got. Prescott then became one of the few politicians whose career was able to recover after decking a member of the public. and has since been photographed wearing boxing gloves and holding a cream egg. Number 7.
That I don't disagree with. I think that just because you're a politician, someone starts attacking you, I mean, you should be able to take up for yourself. Totally agree. You should be able to defend yourself. Now, if you just go out there and someone's verbally saying things to you, I don't agree with that. But if someone is literally pelting you with eggs that close up to your head or something like that, yeah, I mean, fair game at that point, in my opinion.
7. Socially divisive. A constitutional monarch, the Queen isn't allowed to get involved in politics. She's not supposed to express opinions on the officials the public elects or their policies. But in 1986, some comments from the Queen were leaked to the press that appeared to show her disappointments with many of Margaret Thatcher's policies. Still PM at the time.
I've got to look her up, man.
Today, people will be most familiar with this rift because it was depicted in The Crown Series 4.
Always a mistake to assume just because people are privileged, they lack grit.
It's not clear whether the Queen actually did say those things, but they were still widely reported and caused conflict between Buckingham Palace and Downing Street, all because the Queen may have said the same thing everybody else was saying.
Well, I mean, they don't even know for sure if she actually said that. So I don't know how that could be a PR disaster. I mean, I guess if it's made up, people start believing it, but I get it because she's not supposed to weigh in. But at the same time, if there's no proof, how can people be judging it fully if there's literally no proof? Geronimo the alpaca.
6. Geronimo the alpaca.
I cannot consent to have a healthy animal euthanized.
The saga of Geronimo the alpaca reached a sad end in 2020 when the debate around whether Geronimo should be euthanized or not returned to the public eye once again. The issue is that Geronimo was likely infected with bovine tuberculosis, which could have spread to humans. But what prompted this renewed interest in Geronimo, we hear you ask?
You're not taking him off this farm.
Well, leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, decided to make his thoughts on Geronimo public, saying that putting Geronimo down was the best course of action. Managing TB outbreaks is obviously important, but Starmer spent the following weeks plagued by angry members of the public who wanted him to speak out in support of the doomed animal.
I'm absolutely disgusted by this government.
Number 5, go home.
I don't know what I think about that. I'd have to know more information, but if there's literally an animal that could not only infect other animals close to it or even humans, I mean, you would think, I mean, unfortunately, you might need to put it down. But granted, I don't have all the information. I'm just going off what he said here. So I don't know what I think about that one.
Home vans. Another inscrutable political decision from Theresa May. In 2013, she was the Home Secretary when David Cameron was still PM.
It's been described as gimmicky, divisive, disastrous, cheap, and a return to the 70s politics of the National Front.
One of her most ridiculous endeavours was the infamous Go Home vans, as they came to be known. May sent large vans ordering illegal immigrants to go home or face arrest around areas of the UK with high immigrant populations, apparently trying to scare them into getting themselves deported.
I think politicians should be willing to step up to the plate and say when they think something actually hasn't been as good an idea, and I think they were too blunt an instrument.
The vans were a political disaster for the Tories, sending a very unpleasant message to the UK's many immigrants. To make matters worse, 6 years later, the Tories determined that telling someone to
do those trucks work on anything? To be honest, like I've seen those trucks in the US and like I never even pay attention to them.
The Prime Minister now, on reflection, also take the opportunity to call out and condemn the racism of the Go Home vans that she created in coalition government with the Liberal Democrats.
Oh my goodness, this is...
Number 4, Ed Miliband's sandwich. Politicians love a good photo op, but a bad photo can follow you forever. Ed Miliband found this out the hard way when he was snapped eating a bacon sandwich in 2014. They happened to catch him making a particularly
the paparazzi man.
Open wide, Ed!
I think this is good PR for him, because although they actually say that people who eat messily are very good lovers,
Though anybody could have an equally embarrassing photo taken while you're tucking into a delicious bacon sarnie, Miliband has never been able to live it down.
I see why, man.
For months while he campaigned for the 2015 general election, which he ultimately lost to David Cameron by some margin. He's repeatedly stated that he doesn't blame the sandwich, but many of his critics certainly did. Number 3, Barnard Castle.
We agreed that we should go for a short drive to see if I could drive safely.
By now, we all know that if you're in the UK and need an eye test in a pinch, you'd better head north and visit Barnard Castle, one of County Durham's premier tourist attractions. That's because in 2020, Chief Political Advisor Dominic Cummings took his family all the way up to Durham in a clear violation of lockdown rules. It was one rule for politicians and another for everybody else, something the public did not take kindly to. Cummings alleged that he went to Barnard Castle not for a recreational day out, but for an eye test, driving his kids there while wearing glasses that were the wrong prescription. A very safe thing to do. Ultimately, Cummings was forced to resign.
Really? Wow.
That was the whole point of the journey, to determine that he could drive safely.
Number 2,
we never even had the lockdown here, really. I mean, a few areas did, but yeah, I mean, it really wasn't even a thing, to be honest. I know they did in some areas, but yeah, so that's crazy, man. That sounds like it was pretty locked down if you couldn't even travel out of your area or something.
It's a woman. In 2010, Gordon Brown was the Prime Minister standing for election against leader of the opposition, David Cameron, who of course won.
How are you going to get us out of all this debt, Gordon?
Though Brown didn't poll particularly high during his tenure after Blair left, there was one specific incident that may have sealed his fate as the election's loser.
That was a disaster.
After talking to a disillusioned Labour voter, Gillian Duffy, Brown got back into his car and called her a bigoted woman, not realising his microphone was still on.
What did she say? Oh, everything. She just a sort of bigoted woman. Said she used to be Labour. I mean,
that's happened to so many politicians. They forget to turn the mic off.
Bigotgate, with Brown forced to apologise to Duffy for his remarks. The incident has plagued Gordon Brown throughout the rest of his career. Number 1, Piggate. Who knew that an unauthorized biography with absolutely no sources would cause so much fuss? Nobody, it seems, because #Piggate took the UK by storm when it emerged in 2015. An anecdote was published in the book Call Me Dave, claiming that when Cameron was a youth, he went through a dining society invitation rite involving a certain part of his anatomy and a dead pig. And that's all the detail we can go into.
Wait, what?
That he took part in a bizarre initiation ceremony for a dining club involving a pig.
It was in the news for weeks, not in the least because 4 years earlier, Charlie Brooker wrote an infamous episode of Black Mirror that sees the Prime Minister have relations with a pig.
What?
Except Cameron didn't have the excuse of saving a princess. Do you agree with our...
Okay, I'm so confused on that last one. Did he... Are they literally saying he had relations with a pig? What? That's what the rumor is? Okay, that's weird. I don't know what to think about that one. But yeah, these were pretty I can imagine these were PR disasters at the time for these politicians. Well, the first one, the mound, isn't really about a specific politician. It's about it's just about the mound itself. Like what? Why would someone think that's a good idea to bring in tourism? London has crazy amounts of things for tourists to do. You need a mound of dirt in the middle of the city to bring tourists back. It doesn't even make sense. And then charge the equivalent of roughly $8 to climb to the top. It doesn't even make sense. That one right there is one I would never get over. The rest of these were just politicians being politicians, man. I tell you, I mean, I don't know. Is it just to be a politician? Not always. There's some decent people in politics. Don't get me wrong, but it seems like more often than not, it's like you need to have a really sketchy past to be a politician. You know, there's some good ones, like I said, but it seems that so many politicians just are, I don't know, maybe they just get into it for the wrong reasons. They don't actually get into politics for the right reasons. So you get people that do really sketchy things, have really sketchy past. They make laws for thee, but not for me, so to speak. And, yeah. Anyways, like I've said in the past, I'm not the biggest fan of politicians on average, but I do enjoy keeping up with politics. But the one thing that I can't stand about politics is generally the divisiveness. I think it's okay to call out people, call out politicians, specifically for when they are, making what you perceive to be a bad choice, a bad call, producing bad laws, whatever. But it's gone too far with politics being too partisan, and people are literally hate their neighbor now because they disagree with them. When I think people need to understand, and I don't mean to go on a rant, but it's just something I've said many times about politics. It's like, I don't care if you disagree with me on everything. I will still sit down with you and have a beer, give you a handshake, give you a hug, and leave feeling no hard feelings against you because here's one thing that I know. Politics, generally speaking, isn't something you just wake up with one day and you say, well, I'm going to be this way or that. I'm going to believe this or that. It's something that your entire life experience has led up to. And most of that you have no choice in. Your beliefs that you currently have are the beliefs of a combination of your parents, your grandparents, the schools you went to, the college you went to, your friends you came across, when you were introduced to certain political TV shows or magazines or ideas through books, and it goes on and on and on. The fact you have your certain political leaning doesn't make you a bad person just because it's different from what I believe in. And that doesn't, even if it's the exact opposite. I think that the vast majority of people, 99%, I would say, actually want what's best for themselves, their family, their neighbors, and their country, and ultimately the world. I think everybody, for the most part, wants those things. It's just they have different ideas of how to get there and different ideas of what that means. And those different ideas of how to get there and what that means come from their entire life experience. And so to have such anger and animosity against people because they have a different life experience than someone else, it's just not where we need to be going. You know what I mean? Thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.